Eric Adams recently informed city council and the general public that, and I see that the likes is low. I see you, Steve LaPointe. Shout out to you for holding it down inside of the chat. Eric Adams has recently informed the general public and city council members and legislators and the residents of New York that there are painful, very, very painful budget cuts that's coming into the city. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. But before we go into that, I want you to understand what the city is facing, including the police officers, the firefighters, and the EMT people. All right?
Disturbing new video showing 3 men attacking an NYPD officer in broad daylight at a Bronx subway station this past Monday.
This comes as assaults on police are on the rise. Fox 5's Lisa Evers is live on the Upper East Side with more. Lisa.
Well, Steve and Natasha, this alarming rise in assaults on uniformed police officers has law enforcement officials speaking out about this growing trend they'd like to reverse. And it's raising new questions about what it all means for public safety. The videos from the PBA are tough to watch. On Monday, an NYPD officer was beaten by 3 suspects after he asked them to stop smoking at a Bronx subway station. That attack came just 2 days after Lieutenant Gypsy Pichardo was beaten by 2 armed men when he asked them to leave the train.
Now, as you look at this man that got the brakes beat off of him, and remember, these are husbands, fathers, brothers, uncles, human beings that are trying to make it home to their family. And if these human beings do anything, and I mean anything, if they forget to read you a Miranda right, if they misquote the Miranda rights, if they use what you define as excessive force, you will be protesting, you will be advocating for the release of their jobs, and you will be saying that they should never, ever work again, right? Now, remember, these are people that are held to the highest standards ever because they are our police officers. And people have no fear of them, so much so to the point to where they beating them up on subways and subway stations just because they ask you to put out a cigarette, which you're not supposed to be smoking in the first place. Now, again, here's my question, considering the thing that we just seen previously with the white kid that got unalived by all of the people that stomped him out in Las Vegas. What should happen to the people, if caught, that are assaulting these people? Because if we're going to hold the public servants to the highest accountability levels ever, then that means that we also have to have severe consequences to the people that assault these men that are just trying to get home to their families every day. Did you know that police officers have amongst the highest divorce rates? Look at Ray Ranger Bear. Let me show you. Let me show you what our culture is. This is our people. Ray Ranger Bear says, "I'm sorry, but the police are starting to get what the put out, but the bad ones are the problem." Okay, so cool. So that means if black people over there are unruly, disrespectful, and they show a level of hate towards a specific demographic, that all of black people should be getting their ass kicked, right? If the bad people over on the south side of Chicago was robbing and stealing people, that means that everybody in the city should be held accountable. And if a little old lady that's walking down the alley that just so happened to be black, she deserved to get her head knocked off because black people are now starting to get what they deserve, right? Y'all are insane to me, bro. Y'all are crazy. This is the excuse and the reason why y'all keep holding white people that don't have nothing to do with what happened to your ancestors accountable for being white, even if they're not racist. You don't evaluate people on an individual basis based off of character. You look at them and you automatically associate them with negativity, and then you ask for and so hypocritical, people not to judge you based off of how other black people are operating in society. How does that make sense? Did you think about what you were typing before you typed it, or do you not think that I actually participate in the chat and see what y'all be talking about? What's wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? They're getting what they deserve? You don't know that man. He's doing his job. If it wasn't for him, he's the first line of defense. When somebody steal your car, break into your house, you want him to be there ASAP on top of things and protecting your stuff. But you're going to have the nerve to say something about what it is that he should or shouldn't deserve because he asked somebody to put out a cigarette. He deserved to get his face smashed in. So because you chose, because I know a lot of police officers, I've done interviews with them. I know police officers that grew up in a specific neighborhood and they wanted it to be policed by somebody that understood the people that lived in the neighborhood. And so do they also deserve to get they face smashed in? What's wrong with y'all? I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Let's continue.
I asked NYPD Deputy Commissioner Tariq Shepard about the apparent lack of respect for the badge.
Very disturbing. Our police officers are the people that we task with keeping people safe in the communities all across New York City. And for them to be assaulted and become the victims is very problematic. And it's just something that we're not going to tolerate in the city.
NYPD statistics show that assaults on uniformed police officers on duty and in uniform are up 21% so far this year compared to the same period last year. When compared to 2021, it's a 41% rise.
We've seen an increase this year versus last, and it's a huge increase. There's about 350 more police officers assaulted this year versus last year, but one is too many.
The assaults on police officers in the subway system are happening way too often, says Shepard.
The assaults on police officers is what's driving the assault crimes in the subway system. So we want to see that change. It's something that we're concentrating on.
They're also sending a message that the city is not safe for anyone if those sworn to protect it are under attack.
It makes people think twice about moving around in New York City, living in New York City, working in New York City, coming to visit New York City, and that's just why we cannot tolerate this.
And you do realize that it's a trickle-down effect, right? Similar to what they just described. If the police officers aren't safe, what do you think happens to the citizens? If the police officers being assaulted is up 41% since 2021, don't you think that that also weighs on the taxpayers because they are the ones that are sworn to protect and we then pay for their salary, healthcare, pension, all of that stuff? Don't you realize that you're then affected by it because your property values go down because it's not safe for you to continue to live in a place where there is no police presence and the criminals feel like they can get away with whatever it is that they want to get away with? Meanwhile, at the same time that police officers are going through it, Mayor Eric Adams had news for the people.
Mayor Eric Adams says the budget cuts he is set to propose for the city will be extremely difficult for New Yorkers. These cuts are expected to impact all agencies citywide. That includes police, sanitation, school safety agents, really across the board. These reductions coming in part as a result in the billions of dollars spent on the migrant crisis. Pix 11's Calorama live at City Hall with the very latest. Cala, good morning.
Good morning to you, Vanessa. Even the deputy mayor sitting by the mayor's side saying New Yorkers will feel this top to bottom. We're talking about from safety in the city to schools in the city to even sanitation. We will see those results. The mayor blaming the billions of dollars spent on the migrant crisis here and the expiring federal aid. Every single agency will see a 5% cut across this city.
So the mayor is blaming the fact that he designated his city as a sanctuary city. And he's blaming the budget crisis in which sanitation, police, city services, trash pickup, as though New York don't already have a rat problem. And I ain't talking about the people that's just snitching. I'm talking about literal rat problem. As though New York don't already have a garbage, rat, infestation, lack of police officers, assault on police officers, EMT, city services, too many politicians, so on and so on. As though New York don't already have the highest taxes in the United States of America. And they have to have a 5% budget reduction across the board. And so y'all going to be doing more with less people, less workers, less requirements. And he's blaming a self-inflicted wound in which he said that they were going to be a sanctuary city, and he supported the people coming into the city. He put them up in luxury hotels. He spent billions of taxpayer money over into making sure that he's sheltering, housing, and taking care of people that's not supposed to be here in the first place. Send that to me, Love C. Send that to me in my email, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. And so he said that, yeah, we about to get on. Everybody going to have to share in this pain, even though I'm the one that designated this as a crisis and had absolute power and control of what was happening with the budget going forward.
Includes freezing police recruitment when safety is in the city's top priority coming back from the pandemic. At schools, a new class of 250 school safety agents will be cut. Education advocates expect schools to lose more than $1 billion in resources. The mayor getting backlash after saying parents should step up and volunteer at kids' schools.
Are y'all hearing this nonsense? $1 billion taken away from the schools, safety agents removed, sanitation services downgraded. And he's saying that the parents got to do more. Listen, you can't have two working households. You already live in the most expensive city in the United States of America. And he's saying parents are going to and should have to volunteer, even though they are already paying their taxes every single year, to make sure that New York is funded and they have one of the biggest budgets in the United States of America. He's saying that parents need to stop working so hard so that they can volunteer at the schools to make sure that they shore up all of the stuff, despite the fact that they've been fumbling the money and messing up the budget. And you also going to have more migrants participating in your school system because that was a part of becoming a sanctuary city. What are we doing? What is happening in these cities? And how could such incompetence become part of leadership and that they don't even understand basic math, budgeting, and what becoming a sanctuary city really means for the citizens of the United States of America, let alone New York? What is happening in this country? What is wrong with these politicians and the people that continue to vote them in?
Help. Nonprofit groups serving the city's most vulnerable populations will also lose resources. The proposed budget cuts will still need city council approval. We spoke with some city council members who are vying to fight back.
We are going to have to prioritize the needs of New Yorkers, or there will be no grand New York to be proud of.
I am extremely worried that we're going to see more hits to communities of color and communities of New Yorkers that can no longer take any more hits to their quality of life.
It just doesn't make sense.
And the mayor says New Yorkers should expect another 5% cut come next year. That means
so 5% this year, and then we're going to do the same thing on top of the 5% that we did last year.
10% lost from every city agency in 2 years. This comes as the mayor is pleading with the federal government to help pick up the billion-dollar tab for the migrant crisis. That's as migrants continue to come into this city.
And why would Biden do that? And he got to make sure that he fight against the Chinese. And he trying to fund Taiwan and send more money over there to Ukraine, right? And he said that he didn't want to continue to build the border wall when that investment would have long by now paid off based off of what Trump was trying to do inside of his presidency. And y'all blocked. Y'all baller blocked. Y'all cock blocked. Y'all dirty macked. And y'all got him up out of office. And so now this is what you get as a result of it. Welcome. Welcome to the United States of the Americas, where if you live in a blue city, you are going to basically be living in a sanctuary city along with everybody else that's coming up from south of the border. Insane. So that is what's happening over in New York.